Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for joining me again for another live Q&A here on YouTube. If you're new here, my name is Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel here on YouTube is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some tips and tricks and techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business. And I answer your questions through these weekly live Q&As. And we sort of just hang out and sometimes get derailed and talk about silly stuff, but that's okay. But if you're not new here, then you know that every week I have a poll. And this week it's a little tricky because I didn't really make the questions or the responses rather very easy. But today's poll was, what is most important to you for your voiceover business? So let's hop on over to our responses thus far. We have about 19 votes. And the responses are marketing and or social media. They sort of go hand in hand, right? They fall under sort of the same umbrella. Customer service, how well you treat your customers. Auditions, of course. And training and or coaching. Same difference, right? So far, now we have 20 votes. So far, 10% of you said marketing and or social media. 30% said customer service. 35% said auditions. And 25% said training and coaching. Now, if you notice, I didn't give you an easy out. I didn't give you a all of the above. I really wanted to see, inquiring minds wanted to know what you guys thought was most important if you had to choose just one. So it looks like auditions are most important. And they are. They are. Because that is a way of not only responding, of course, to a client request, but also hopefully them keeping you in mind for future projects, right? Although I think personally for me, that's a tough question. If I had to pick just one, because that would definitely be all of the above for me. But I think, wow, I would have to say it's a toss-up for me between training and coaching and customer service. Because marketing is important. Submitting auditions are important. Training and coaching are important because you definitely want to be good, right? You want to understand what you're doing and deliver a good product. And I heard something, I think it was TikTok, or it was some sort of a voiceover panel. But the woman who was talking, and I just saw it in passing, so I apologize. I don't remember where I heard it, but someone had said, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this, as long as you're good at it, right? If you can deliver what the client expects you to deliver, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Or if you've got a bunch of titles under your belt, or if you have a bunch of large name clients, that you've done work for. None of that really matters. I mean, it sort of does, I guess. If you're looking for an agent and the agent wants to know what clients you've worked for, that sort of thing. But I mean, to get more business and to stay busy, you would have to deliver what the client is looking for, which means training and coaching would definitely help with that. But customer service keeps them coming back, right? Treat the customer or client or agent or whomever you're working with directly as you would want to be treated yourself. And what we do is a global business, right? You work with clients all over the world. And again, sometimes the language barriers get in the way. Sometimes you're dealing with translated dialogue that doesn't come across as, or may come across as curt or short. You can't get too caught up in how things are worded because it's not, I mean, I would just be thankful that they found me. you know? I mean, I'm not saying that if a customer is treating you poorly or harassing you or, you know, doing something or saying something that makes you uncomfortable to go ahead and work with them. I'm just saying have an open mind. Have an open mind because there are a lot of people all over the world that you're going to work with. And I'm already going off on a tangent. We've only been on for what, five minutes. Okay. All right. Well, let's hop on over to the comments. I see we have a handful. Let's see who's here today. Of course, we have Robert. Good morning, Robert. Robert says, "Good morning, Angela. Good morning, America." Good morning, Robert. Musical Neptunian says, he doesn't say I say Good and sleepy morning from a more Antipodean. I just said this word, Antipodean location. So you're on the other side of the globe, Australia, New Zealand, one of the two. I think you said Australia at one point. Good morning. I'm sure is it really late at night? What time is it there? Oh, morning, early morning. I'm getting distracted already. NDB says, howdy. Good morning, Andy B. James Park is here. Good morning from the heart of the Canadian prairie. Good morning, James. Thanks for joining. Making Money Ideas, Passive Income says, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Goldie's Adventures After 50 says, good morning. Do you remove your auditions after no response after a month, or do you keep them up? When you say, do I remove my auditions, meaning like samples? If I were to reuse an audition as a sample? If that is the case, I would leave it there until you run out of space and you have to replace them. Because most of the places that you audition for or where you audition will allow you to use those auditions as samples. And I would definitely use them. I would reuse that content anywhere that you can and then leave them up until you can't have them there anymore or until you have, because, as you go along, you start getting better. Your sound quality improves because you're learning new tips and tricks to improve your sound quality with effects and, mic placement and treating your space and all of that stuff. And maybe you got some training and some coaching or just practice, right? Those auditions are inherently going to get better. So I would keep them up until you sound better, right? And then replace them, or unless you have to take them down and replace them. Louie. Thank you, Louie. Hang on, I got to find, there you are. Thanks for the super chat, Louie. What's up? Angela in the house. Can you think of a way to arbitrage voiceover gigs for a bit of profit? If so, please share. I think if I had to guess, with my time on places like Fiverr and Upwork, freelance marketplaces, which I signed up for a long time ago, and then I've been on for a little over 4 years now, I can tell you that I think that some of my gigs were. I think that in the very beginning, when my prices were a little bit more affordable for these people to still make profit in their arbitrage, I think that they were. I think that they made acquaintances or partnerships with some of the other voice artists, maybe a handful of them, and then used them to, I think mainly those were in like the phone messages, IVR. So you could essentially choose from a voice and then have provide a script to one of the voiceover artists, and then you would essentially send it to that person, and then that person in turn would turn around and sell it to their end user, whoever that was. I can't say for certain if that is what happened, but I have a feeling that that had happened a few times in the past. I don't know if I would do that personally. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. But that's a good question. You always ask the most provoking questions. Thought-provoking questions, not provoking questions. Great question, though, and thanks for the super chat, Louie. I hope that answered your question. Where did I leave off? Randy. Hi, Randy. Hello from Utah. Hello. Good morning from sunny Phoenix, Arizona. Sally Morrill says, hi, Angela. It's partly cloudy in Pensacola, Florida. Hello to everyone in VO land. Is it humid in Florida? It's straight miserable here. It's going to get like record high today. Stacy's here. Hello, Stacy. Good morning, sunshines, she says. Robert Palmore says, without customer service, you won't have customers. That's a great point. Having just basic customer service is good, but I think having stellar customer service is even better. Over deliver. James Park says, I agree with Robert. I could say it. Without good customer service, the others don't matter. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great point. Jesse Jensen says, finally made it to the live. Well, we're glad to have you. Thank you for spending some time with us today. Savannah's here. Hello, Savannah. Hey, everybody. It's rainy and gloomy day here in New York. A perfect start for spooky season. I know. I went to, I did a little shopping. I went and found myself a spirit store this weekend. So I got myself a new mug. I got myself some new Haunted Mansion towels for the kitchen. I went a little bit nuts. I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. I'm just one of those spooky gals, I suppose. Robert says, please don't use TikTok. They share all their user data with a company that is partly owned by the Chinese government. I'm going to say I love it when people have information to share, and I gladly accept everybody's opinions on things. But I say, do what you're going to do. We all have the ability to try new things and to make our own decisions about things, where I respect everybody's decision to do what they want to do. As long as you're not hurting me or yourself, do what you're going to do. But I personally use TikTok. I use it sparingly. I have fun with it, but I don't, and this goes for any social media, I don't share too much personal information, really anywhere. Mainly just supporting my business and promoting my own business. Eileen says, good morning, Angela, from Virginia. I'm ready to go to ACX soon to try out for an audition. Should I do one audition and wait and see if I hear from that RH before I go for another audition? Nope. Submit a bunch because it's a numbers game. As I always say, it's the more opportunities the more auditions you do, the higher your success rate may be. Because not only do you have to find a book that interests you to audition for to start with, or to fit your certain parameters if you have some for that book, but then you also have to have your audition cross the desk or find the rights holder that's actually looking for your voice. Because you may think that you're a perfect fit, but we don't know the voice in the rights holder's head. He may have a completely different voice in mind, or he may have a particular voice in mind for his book, his or her book, but don't necessarily know how to articulate what they're looking for in the descriptions that they post, or they just may arbitrarily choose, a general American or British, or, maybe storyteller, if you've auditioned for ACX. We just don't know exactly what it is that they're looking for. So the more auditions you do, the higher your potential success rate in landing a job offer. So definitely don't sit and wait. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is that if you submit 10 auditions, you get 2 book offers, and then you do one right after the other. Make time in your schedule for both. It doesn't mean you have to do both at the same time. You can do one and then, work out your schedule so you can fit both in. But definitely no, don't wait. Don't wait. Musical Neptunian gives a little smile. Robert says, just having the TikTok, just having the TikTok app on your phone allows your phone to be tracked. Don't need an account to have your actions tracked. Well, I think they pretty much all have that capability, Robert. Tim F says, good morning, Angela from North Texas. Thank you for your content. Thank you for joining. Thanks for being here. And good morning. Michael V says, good morning, Angela. There's the frog again. Always great to be here with you. I'm glad you're here, Michael V. I appreciate you guys. Oh, Musical Neptunian says it's 2 a.m. Go. Why are you up so early or late? Danny Alvarez says, I am really frustrated with pay to play since I am on a free tier. So I'm the 30th person to audition. Yeah. Most of those sites work that way, unfortunately. That they do and what Danny is talking about, for those unfamiliar with some of the pay to plays are websites where you have to pay something in order to play or audition. Most of these sites will allow you to have a free profile, but with that free profile, you can't audition. You have to wait for someone to find you, and the chances of that are very, very slim. So what you have to do is pay for a tiered membership. And the higher the membership level, the sooner your audition or the sooner the job lands in your inbox to audition for. But in any place you go, any website that you're working with, any place that you are that you have a profile on in order to have clients find you, that website is going to be spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in marketing to get clients to go to their website and utilize that website to find that voiceover client or that voiceover talent, rather. So it's really just the cost of doing business. I'm not going to say that I completely agree with all the way they're all structured, but it is what it is. If you know what you're getting into and you accept those terms, then that is just the cost of doing business. I don't completely agree with the way that some of these are laid out, but it is what it is. And most of the sites, if not all, I think all, now that I think about it, all of them will take a piece in some form or another. They'll either charge you for a tiered membership in order to audition, or they will take a percentage of your earnings, or both in some instances. So whatever website that you're signing up on, just make sure that you're reading through how they get their piece and you understand how they get their piece so you can structure your pricing accordingly. So for example, if you know the site's going to take 20%, then make sure that your pricing structure reflects that. But there are some sites that take 20% from both sides, if not. Now that I think about it, I think they might do that with most of them. They'll take a percentage from both the buyer and the seller. And that is just sort of like a hosting fee, right? It's just like, hey, I acquired this talent to have a profile here, or hey, I acquired this client to come here in the first place to find talent. So they're going to want a piece back for all of the marketing that they did, or for hosting the opportunity for the two of you to find each other. So it is frustrating, but it's just the cost of doing business. And really, if you're working with an agent or If you're not direct marketing, even with direct marketing, I guess there's going to be some cost involved with that. So any way that you look at it, agent, direct marketing, advertising, any which way you look at it, you're going to be paying somebody something in order for you to be seen and for you to find business. But yeah, same. Goldie's Adventures After 50 says, if you auditioned for a part and no response on ACX, I don't think you need to remove your auditions from a direct audition, but you could definitely use it as a sample, and I would leave it there. I would leave it as a sample until, again, you feel a little bit better about a future sample, a month down the road if you want to replace that sample with something else, or just leave it there. Louie says, hi, everyone. Hello, Louie. Robert says, everyone, please like the video to help Angela's metrics. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you, Robert. If you do like this video, again, I appreciate your opinion. If you like this video, I would appreciate the like. Thank you so much. JCCAOL says, it's becoming more overcast as the days pass. That being said, will you have a Halloween show? That's a very good question. Will you decorate your studio and dress up all goth for the occasion? Does Halloween fall on a Tuesday? Hold on. Let me just take a look at my calendar really quick. It falls on a Monday this year. I don't know. Should I? Like the last week of October? Like the Tuesday before Halloween? I don't know if I'm going to dress up all goth. I mean, I was goth in high school, but I don't know. It's a good question. Good question. Wonderland Steam says, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Wonderland Steam. Louie says, like Robert said, please like. Yeah, thank you. Mad Barbecuer says, what does arbitrage mean? Basically, you're reselling. One thing that I do arbitrage myself. There's a little baby moth in here. Sorry, squirrel. I resell books on Amazon because as some of you may know, I am a complete and total book nerd. I love books. I've always loved books, physical, tangible books. So I'll go to yard sales, Goodwill, stuff like that, and list them on Amazon for sale. And that is retail arbitrage, where you're basically reselling stuff. There are some people that make really good money on going to like discount stores like Ross, TJ Maxx, that sort of thing, and finding clearance items and then reselling those on Amazon. So that is basically retail arbitrage, but arbitrage is basically just a fancy word for reselling. Masonry Construction says, hi from Oceanside, California. A little cooler than Phoenix. Yeah, we're supposed to hit 110 today, I think. But Oceanside, I'm sure you've got a nice ocean breeze. God, I miss the smell of the ocean. Making Money Ideas Passive Income says, weather here in California going to be like 114 degrees. Where in California are you? I'm from California, from Southern California. JCC AOL says, every day is Halloween in my world. Absolutely. Absolutely. Every day is Halloween. If you know, you know. Robert Palmore says, do what you're going to do, but be informed about it. Absolutely. Well said. Absolutely well said. Yes, Robert. Perfect. That is what I was mentioning earlier about everybody making their own decisions. Make educated, well-informed decisions. No matter what you decide to do with your business or what social media platform, what pay-to-play that you sign up on, what website host, whatever you decide to do for your business or personal, really, make sure that you know what you're doing before you do it. Don't just hop in blindly. Well said, Robert. Mad Barbecuer says, correct. TikTok is very bad and destroys people's minds, literally, especially children. Social engineering at its worst. I think it also depends on what you're looking at. I'm not trying to defend. I'm just saying, again, everybody's going to have differing opinions on things. I'm not like super big on TikTok, but I think as far as marketing yourself goes, I think and what people are looking at most often on social media are short little bite-sized videos, and that is because of the TikTok format. So if you're wanting to market yourself or introduce yourself to the world, as I say, um, making short little videos, 30-second, minute-long videos, and then putting them on Instagram stories even. I mean, YouTube Shorts, most every platform now has got some sort of a, short video platform, because of the success of TikTok's format. Again, do what you're going to do. Everybody has their own opinions about things. Um, Angela Thomas, nice name. Hiya from Kansas City. You are my inspiration. Oh, stop it. I just got my equipment and I am learning how to use everything. I thank you from one Angela to another Angela. Angela's got to stick together. I actually have a podcast client named Angela, Writer A Heart. She has a cozy mystery book club and great podcast, by the way. But I always, Angela's got to stick together. Um, well, I'm glad that my videos help. I really do. And it is a learning curve. It's a learning curve to learn everything. It's a lot. It's a lot. Just be patient, give yourself some grace, take little baby steps if you have to. But if I can learn it, then anybody can learn it. Thanks for joining, Angela. Jesse says, I think TikTok is great for up and coming audiobook narrators. I watch people narrate with the permission of the authors on live all the time. Fun. Yeah, it's the TikTok in that respect I mean, no matter where you're watching people, they could be on Twitch, they could be on YouTube, like my channel, anywhere where they're doing a live narration or even listening to audiobooks yourself. I mean, any of that is educational for someone who wants to be an audiobook narrator, just to see them doing, going through the process of making the mistakes and correcting them, and then how they develop the characters and do the character and switch between the two. And it's all really interesting. And I think I don't watch as much of the lives as I used to on TikTok, but there are some great audiobook narrators on TikTok that and I think TikTok is good for making connections with other people. Um Finding your tribe, and then through that algorithm having other authors or there's casting agencies on TikTok. There's big corporations on TikTok that find talent through TikTok, like voice actors are being found for work by big companies on TikTok. So, I mean, it's a balance that you just have to know what you're dealing with and how it works. But I think there could be good and bad with any social media platform. You just have to know what you're doing and how much you share, I think. But yeah. Louis says arbitrage is the act of finding goods or services at a low price and reselling them for higher prices elsewhere. Mhm. Absolutely. Mad Barbecuer says, thanks, Louis. And Kirk is here, indeed. Can't stay, but wanted to see your smiling face this rainy Tuesday morning. Have a lovely day. I would love some rain. We had a very active monsoon season this year, and it's supposed to come back at the end of this week. I'm looking forward to it. It's been too dang hot. But thanks for joining. You're probably already gone, but thanks for joining. Wish I could see your smiling face. Louis is a mad barbecuer. Danny says, oh, he's talking to Tim F. I'm in North Texas too. It's awesome. Robert says, my poor brain couldn't do 2 books at the same time. Just don't have the ability to keep track of that many characters or storylines. You can. You can. What I typically do if I'm in the middle, if I'm doing 2 books at once, maybe not, at the same time, but what you could do is have a master file of the different voices and or have a file for each character's voice, like a sample of the voice that you chose for that character that you can reference anytime that you forget what they sound like. So it can be done. It may take a little bit more work, but I think you could do it. I think you could. There's nothing wrong with having, work back to back, or, you finish one and then there's one waiting for you when you're done. I think you could. And then Robert says, I really don't like it when a site puts themselves first, but they have a business to run as well. Yeah. Just have to find a well-balanced site if they exist. Yeah. 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 Everybody's got to have their piece to run their business. Alan says, I'm an author looking to narrate my own work and maybe for others, but I have no VO training. Is it worth paying for a service like Adobe Audition, or should I practice with a free software first? That's a great question, Alan. I'm a little bit biased when it comes to a DAW. I'm really, really fond of Adobe Audition because I've used it for years, but I did start out with Audacity, which is completely free to download and use. And I know a lot of VOs and audiobook narrators who still use it. And from my understanding, Audacity has been updating their effects and just their features constantly over the last few years. So I'm hearing it's getting better and better and better with every new iteration. So Adobe Audition's really not that. I mean, it does what you need it to do to narrate audiobooks. But for me, Adobe Audition sort of broadens the field of view. For me, it seems like it does more, or I can do more with Adobe Audition. But Audacity, for being free, is great software to use for you for narrating your own audiobooks. But I say go for it. I love it when authors narrate their own work. Sareki the Great. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that. Hi, everyone. It's been a while. Can't stay, but wanted to say hello and get a little bit of inspiration through these tough times I'm going through. It's always good to be in good company. Oh, I'm sorry that you're going through tough times. Just be strong. Pull through it. Most of the time, tough times are temporary tests. You'll get through it. Louis says, I think it would be fair to arbitrage VO gigs if I'm transparent with my intention in return for the steady stream of gigs. Yeah. If you do intend to do something like that, being transparent with your intentions, I think, is definitely going to help you to make some solid partnerships with people who are interested in doing that sort of thing. As long as everybody has a clear understanding of what is happening, I think that would be the only way that I would do that. So I think that's a great idea, Louis. Business Tryout says, good afternoon, Stephen from Toronto here. Is the Blue Yeti a good microphone for doing voiceover work professionally? I started out with a Blue Yeti microphone, and I think once you get the bug and you start to make some money from your voiceovers, then you want new gear. So I don't know anybody that still uses the Yeti that they started out with, because a lot of people do. I know a handful of voiceover artists that started with the Blue Yeti. I would say it's good to do audiobook narration with, but once you start to get into professional voiceovers, you might want to consider another mic for broadcast quality. Not to say that the Blue Yeti is bad. Excuse me. I just think that some of the microphones, the higher quality microphones, are just going to bring that much more out of your voice for broadcast quality voiceovers. But the Blue Yeti is definitely one that would be good to start out with. And then once you start to make some income, I mean, and that's the fun part. And everybody falls victim to this. I don't know anybody that didn't go, oh, I've made, this much money this month. I'm going shopping. I'm going to go buy myself a new microphone. It just, it is what it is. And then you get hooked. And then you're like, new gear day, But it's definitely not a bad microphone to start out with. I had one. Musical Neptunian says at business tryouts, basically no, Blue Yeti is a USB microphone. It is a USB microphone, just side note, but USB microphones have come a long way in the last few years. But an XLR microphone are better. They need an audio interface. XLR microphones are, I think, tuned or designed, engineered for vocals, I think, are going to be more better suited for voiceover, particularly. Blue Yeti is a great microphone for all around, maybe live streaming or, video recording, stuff like that. They sound great for that. ASMR. I know a lot of ASMR artists who use Blue Yeti, but for voiceover particularly, I would say an XLR mic might be a better choice. I think we need to check the poll, don't we? All right, Robin, I'll be right back with you. Let's go back to Zipple. So today's poll is, what is most important to you for your voiceover business? We have 52 votes. I think that's one of the higher ones we've had. And today's poll was kind of tricky because I didn't give you guys an easy out with an all of the above. I wanted to see if you could only choose one, what would you choose? So now 13% of you said marketing and or social media. 19% said customer service. 31% said auditions. And now 37% said training and or coaching. And I have to agree. I mean, it's pretty much an even tie for me in customer service and training and coaching. But that's just the way that I'm wired. But I think training and coaching, I would have to say, might even nudge out customer service. So I would have to agree with the 37% of you watching. But, everybody does their business their way. That's the glory of having your own business, is running it the way that you want to run it. So it's really up to you. Whatever is most important to you, just make sure that whatever it is, you're giving it your all. And there really isn't a wrong answer. I mean, do you. You do you, boo. Where do we live? Oh, Robin. That's right. Okay. Sorry if this has been answered elsewhere, but is it okay to upload to ACX chapter by chapter rather than doing it all at the end? It is. Yeah, you can finish all the files and then upload them when you're done with all of them, or you can upload them as you go. Whichever way is easier for you, you could definitely do that. Yeah, do it whichever way you want to. Christine Hauser says, Tuesday before, be a turkey. Be a turkey? Be a turkey? A turkey? I already am a turkey. I'm a big turkey. Okay, so the Tuesday before Halloween, we need to do a Halloween show. Dang, this is sort of the backdrop I would have used for Halloween, sort of like dark and fiery. I'll have to think of something. You do like cool cauldrons and stuff. But I'm a turkey 24/7. A great idea. Robert said, year-round, I put my to scale skeleton in the passenger seat of my car. Belted in, of course, have to comply with the law. That's funny. You don't do you do that just to freak people out, or do you do that to try to get into the HOV lane or the diamond lane? Robert. Tim says that Danny, very cool. JCC AOS, I knew you were goth. How did you know that? What tipped it off? My love of horror? And black, perhaps? KP Guttatown Music 501. I hope I said that right. This is a lifetime career if you enjoy this type of work. It can be. Absolutely. Making Money Ideas Passive Income says Turlock, California, Central Valley. I'm from like the Riverside, San Bernardino area. That's where I came from. Twisted 681 says only 110. We were supposed to hit 113 today in Las Vegas. Ugh. Yeah, you're sort of like in the same, bar of heat on the map as us. So yeah, it's definitely going to be warmer than normal, or what is normal for this time of year. Let's just get through the week, and hopefully the storms will come back. Rowan Z says, how to present myself publicly if I'm just getting into VO work website. Does a degree in journalism and mass communications count as having some kind of experience? Absolutely. Absolutely. I used my business degree. I used my previous experience as an animal exhibit technician, my automotive experience. Any kind of experience that you have is not bad experience. Because if you're getting into narrating articles, or if you're getting into, knowing the basics of journalism. I don't know what kind of degree you have, but knowing the basics of journalism and knowing mass communications, all of that, any kind of experience that you have, even if it's basket weaving or farming or whatever it is, any kind of experience that you have is not bad experience. That experience helps to mold your perception of things and how you interpret things. And you could find yourself doing voiceover work for that particular niche because you understand the lingo, you understand the meaning of those things and how to present them. Any kind of communication, any kind of experience you have is definitely experience to be shared as experience. Absolutely. KP Gutatown Music 501 says it's 83 degrees here in Oklahoma City. I think it's pretty much hot everywhere right now, isn't it? VoiceOver Audio Janet says, hi, Angela and everyone. Hello, Janet. Thank you for joining. James says, at Musical Neptunian, I'm currently using a Yeti because it's all I can afford currently. I've had success with it. Yeah, it's not a bad mic. It's not a bad mic to start out with. No, we still have the Yeti here too. My partner uses it now for his stuff, but it's not a bad mic to start with. Joy West says, hello, Angela, and everyone from Southfield, Michigan. Hi, Joy. Thanks for joining us today. Musical Neptunian answering James Park. Yeti is one of the better USB mics, but USB mics are limited in bitrate quality. I use a Rode NT XLR mic. Yeah. Yeah, you pay more for them because there's a lot more engineering and part quality and, tuning that go into them. So I would say, what did I just do? I would say USB mics are fine to start out with, but definitely upgrade as you go along. KP Gutatown Music 501 says you should start a group called Angela. Like Duran, sort of. We could, but then we'd be excluding everyone that's not Angela, and I don't want to do that. Louis says, I lived in California for a while, went to college out in Hollywood for film. Oh, that's cool. That would have been interesting, for sure. VoiceOver Audio Janet says, figured out after days that Audacity plus Chrome equals buying Windows laptop. Are you having issues with Audacity and Chrome? Or because you find it's a better combination than like an Apple product? What do you mean by that, Janet? Share with the class. Louis says, hey, everyone, make VoiceOver Audio Janet feel welcome. That's nice of you, Louis. VoiceOver Audio Janet says, oh, thanks. Louis the best, isn't he? I wish we could give Louis a like. Here's the thumbs up for you, Louis. You're the best. Michael V says, thermometer in my truck says it's 64 degrees now in Connecticut. Oh, that sounds lovely. My computer says right now 99 degrees outside, and it's 9:44 in the morning. Oh, my goodness. Louis says hi at VoiceOver Audio Janet. You guys rock. Robert says, everyone knows what you were saying, why you mow the grass, but aren't you actually lessing the grass? Why you mow the grass, but aren't you actually lessing the grass? Are you saying that it's just like glass half full or something? It's all interpretation of how you say something? Robert. Brofton VO says, hi, Angela. You must have heard this tons of times. Heard what? Hi, Angela. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. I'm sorry. I'm in a goofy mood today. James says, at Musical Neptunian, I agree XLR is better, and I plan to switch when I can afford it, when some rich relative dies. But until then, I'm going to prioritize treating my Claudio closet studio. That is also a very, very, very great point that you're making, James, because regardless of what microphone that you do choose to start out with, whether it's a $20 mic, if there isn't even is there a $20 mic? I'm sure there is somewhere. Or it's a $5,000 mic. That mic is going to reflect your space. Because if your space isn't set up properly, meaning you have lots of open space with, nothing to break down or reduce the reverb. If your space isn't treated properly, that $5,000 mic is just going to enhance the bad quality of your room just as much as a $20 mic would. So treating your space, I dare say, is even more important than your microphone choice. Very good point, James. Thank you for bringing that up. Rowan Z says, is it okay to have a social media presence that keeps my identity private? Like how some authors use an alias. I'm a very private person and I don't want to have to be putting my face all over social media. Because we do voiceover and audiobook narration, your product is your voice. You could get away with just using your voice in any kind of social media content, or just static images in social media content, or videos with just your voiceover on it. It could be a video of, a tree blowing in the wind and then your voice doing a soft meditative guided meditation and some soft music playing behind it, or a voiceover of your cat doing something silly in the kitchen. I mean, it could really be anything if you just let your mind go crazy with it. But if you're talking about using like a stage name or a pseudonym, you could do that. But just know that whatever you do build, whatever name you do choose to go by, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. My opinion. Because if you want to build something, you have to be consistent. Because if someone finds you, 2 years ago, if you did a funny piece of content 2 years ago and somebody remembers that, it sounds silly, but it does happen. People go, hey, you did something, or I saw you do something, 2 years ago, and I just now stumbled upon it. And then they can't find you because your voice was perfect for whatever. I'm not saying that's always going to be the case, but it is a probability. And I have had that happen to me. And if I wasn't VoiceOverAngela for as long as I have been, then I don't think I would be where I was now, because it's something that has stuck with me for almost the entirety of my journey in this business. So I think unless you have two identities, if your pseudonym has its own identity and presence on social media, and then you have your own for other types. Let's just say if your pseudonym's doing spicy stuff, you could have a whole different presence for that pseudonym for the spicy stuff, if that's what you want to do. But you don't have to show your face. You just have your voice on your content, because that's what your product is, right? That's what your service is. Robert says back-to-back audiobooks wouldn't be a problem. It's not. Yeah, I try not to do that to myself, but I always find myself in sort of that quandary where I have sometimes up to 4 books in just various stages of either negotiation, prep, recording, editing, revision, whatever it is. So doing 2 books simultaneously would be tough, I think. But it can be done. I've done it. It's tough. But having Maybe a master track of all the different characters on it, just the little snippets of their voice so you can remember what they sound like is definitely helpful to remember who sounds like what. And then Robert says, the DAW, Reaper, gives you a trial period, but you can renew the trial period indefinitely. Yeah, I think a lot of the DAWs have some sort of a free trial that you can check out. I mean, apart from Audacity, it just is what it is and it's already free. But I think most of the DAWs will give you like a free trial of sorts. But some of them, excuse me, some of them are monthly subscriptions, some of them annual subscriptions. Easy for you to say. Or you can buy them outright and then use them in perpetuity as long as they're around, like Reaper, which I've heard really great things about. But it really comes down to whatever DAW that you do choose, it has to make sense for you. You know, it has to make sense for you and your business to pay it monthly or yearly or just one lump fee outright. Either way, it has to be something that you're comfortable using, that you understand how it works, because this is the one piece of technology that you're going to be using every day, every hour, every year, every project that you do. So it's definitely going to be helpful that you're comfortable with it and that you understand it, that you understand how it works and how to use it. And for me, that's Adobe Audition, but I think it's almost an even split. Gosh, nowadays. Good gosh. Sorry, guys. Either Audition or Reaper, and then you'll have some Studio Ones and some Audacities, but I hear a lot of Reaper and Adobe Audition. James says, Angela, do you subscribe to a royalty-free music service? And if so, which one? I use Storyblocks. I've used storyblocks.com for a long time, back when it used to be, I think, Storyblocks and Audioblocks or something. But now it's a website that has After Effects, it has still images, it has video clips, it has music, sound effects. There hasn't been a project that I couldn't complete so far with using any of the digital assets on Storyblocks. And with that membership fee, you have a license to present to the client if they ever have an issue. So if the client is doing something for YouTube and you provide the music and the client gets a copyright strike from YouTube, and it's not because of what you did, it's because somebody else used the music and then tried to claim copyright on it, which made the copyright issue in the first place. But if you provide your client with a copy of your license to use that, it's usually cleared up within a few minutes on YouTube. I've never had anybody say that, there's been an issue for longer than a day with any of the content that I've used from Storyblocks. And then just having that license is just a peace of mind, knowing that I'm pretty much covered, and so are my clients with the end product. Flyer here. Hey, Eric. I have taken your course on Upwork as well as Anthony's. Any new experiences about how to make that platform successful? I'm starting to get kind of froggy, guys. I apologize. Upwork has done some improvements over the last year. It's still the way that they structure the profiles rates is still not super voiceover friendly. And the way that they make their gigs is still not super voiceover friendly. They call them projects on Upwork, but they're basically sort of formatted like Fiverr gigs, where someone can just pre-purchase a certain like block of a product, which you outline in each of the projects. It's a little bit more, I think, labor intensive to make sure that you're on the same page with the client in terms of pricing structures. But I think the overall experience with Upwork is a lot less strict. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a lot more easygoing than some other sites. It's not as, I always forget the word that suits it perfectly. But anyway, Upwork is still a great freelance marketplace to be on, I think. It's just not super voiceover friendly yet. But they have been making some really great improvements. And it's just a matter of, just like any other site, you have to tell people that you're there. You can't rely on any of the sites to do any kind of promotion for you unless you're paying for it. So you are one of hundreds of thousands of others that are represented there on that site. So you have to stand out. You have to introduce yourself by auditioning or reaching out to clients with bids and proposals. So on any site that you're on, you can't just sit tight and think that everyone's going to come flocking to you. You have to be proactive and work at having people find you. And that goes with really anything. That's just sort of marketing yourself. Going out and finding agents, going out and doing some direct marketing, going out and submitting bids and auditions and, on any of the sites that you're on. It's going to take a little bit of work on anywhere that you're at to find work. But I don't think that my personal success on Upwork has changed really in any way, good or bad. It's pretty much stayed the same. I don't do a whole lot of business there on Upwork, but I do some. Most of it is audiobooks. And most of the time I get sent invitations to interview. Sometimes I win, sometimes I don't. It's just like any other place, but nothing spectacularly new in terms of juicy tidbits on how to win more work there. Unfortunately, it's pretty much the same as what you've seen on those two courses. Jesse says, what do you do to help prevent sore or strained throat? Went a little too long last week and the next day wasn't the best. I know. That's usually what my problem is that I push myself too far the day before, or it's early in the morning and I haven't really started talking yet, like now. But teas, hot teas, there are people that swear by those personal, I want a nebulizer keeps popping into my head, but like a humidifier, that sort of thing. Warm, there's throat pastilles that they're out there. There's lozenges. There's all kinds of concoctions people will recommend to help soothe the throat. But me personally, it's usually tea and honey and rest. I think rest is probably one of the best things you can do. Hydrate, tea and honey. Yeah, that's rough. But you have to take a lot of breaks. I mean, I know there's going to be times where you have to just push through because there's just too much to be done. But you have to take care of your instrument. Take lots of breaks. You have to force yourself to take breaks and to rest. Musical Neptunian says, at Robert Palmer, you're like that scene in the movie Hollow Man where Kevin Bacon reveals himself to kids. Robert Palmer says, we don't have HOV lanes in this part of Texas. Most people that try and do bad things aren't very smart. And I think of Skinny as my watch. I think of Skinny as my watch skeleton. His name is Skinny. That's appropriate, I suppose. Louie says, just use a filter and a digital Halloween background to save money on decorations and costume. Why would I do that? That's not fun. I would rather go get decorations, and it gives me an excuse to go buy more Halloween stuff. Come on, Louie. Your streaming service should have them available. I think I can with my web camera actually, but I don't know if I want to do that. I think I'd rather have decorations and stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Voiceover audio, Janet says, wouldn't work, period. Oh, with the Chrome and Audacity? Really? Interesting. It worked for me. Maybe it was just the current versions, or maybe something wasn't communicating with the two. I don't know. Interesting. So when you bought your laptop, what operating system was that? You said Windows, but I mean, how did you get it to work for you? Robert Palmer says, like Louie. Joy says, he. Christine Hauser says, thumbs up to Louie. Yes, thumbs up to you, Louie. Sean Lester 007 says, my rig is Rode NT hooked on my sun visor with my Mac PowerBook on the passenger seat, reading from an iPad. It works well enough for YouTube. Interesting. Yeah, I've heard of a few people using their vehicles as recording spaces. You got to do what you got to do, right? Louis says, I'm pro quality interaction. Yeah, you are. Angela Thomas says, what size is your studio? It's small. Trying to figure out how much space I really need. Um, I think a smaller space is easier to control the sound in than a larger space. But my space here is like some weird little funky studio office storage room that's in my townhouse. It's like 5 by 6. I think it's about 5 by 6 in width, and then the ceiling is probably an 8 foot ceiling. But I have nearly every inch of wall in here covered with moving blankets and or acoustic foam of some sort. So to keep reflections down, echo, to reduce the echo. My door is open now, so you might actually hear some out in the hallway, but it's much easier to control the sound of a smaller room, I think. Usually a closet will work just fine. Closet with clothes in it. Twisted681 says, why do we drive on a parkway but park on a driveway? My son said something really funny to me the other day that was similar. Like, if it's on a ship, it's called cargo, but if it's in the car, it's a shipment. Something like that. But his was much more clever than that. I gotta remember what that was. Good question, though. Very thought-provoking. Rowan Z says, thanks for answering my previous question. I don't mind having a website for my VO work, but being a very private person, I'm worried about having to market myself on social media. Again, you can have a website and social media presence without showing your face. You just use your voice and video footage that you can find on, is it Pixabay? There's a few websites where you can use like Creative Commons, royalty-free video images and or video footage rather, or images and music, sound effects, that sort of thing. And then just add your voice to it because that is what you wanted to market anyway. You don't have to show your face. You might have to get a little clever, but you could do it for sure. Might take a little bit more work to not show your face, but you could do it. Robert says, when you cut the grass, it is shorter. There is less grass height, so lessing the grass instead of mow your grass, you have less. Oh, I understood. I just didn't know why that was brought up. I don't know. I think I was missing the point of why that was inserted there. I don't know. You're a gem, Robert. Louis says, LOL, I bow to you guys for the like. Yes, Louis, you deserve all the likes. VoiceOver Van Deen, you've got a note. You also, well, the frog arrived before you did. The frog was on time. You, sir, however, were late. But you're excused. Thanks for joining. I appreciate everybody that hops in here. 41 people. We have 41 people in here. Holy Moses. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate that. Sean Lester 007 says, my travel rig is Rode. And did I just read this one? Good enough for YouTube. Did you post that twice? Hooked upside down. But I have heard a lot of people in their car recording in there because it's, it's sort of dampened. It's quiet. The only thing that you'd have to consider, I think, in a car is the windshield and then reflections from the windshield. But I think overall, the inside of a car might sound pretty good. Even in a pinch, or if you're traveling or something like that, you could use your car. Do you use that full time? Is that what you use full time for your voiceover recording space? Is your car? Louis says, ditto for the like. LOL. I give a like to everyone here to support Angela. You guys rock. Thank you, Louis. Oh, Sean, I didn't see this. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the super chat. You're a doll. I appreciate you for doing these live feeds. I enjoy doing these live feeds because I enjoy the community here. I enjoy the community. I enjoy being able to, help you move forward. If you have a question that is just, just side note, there are no stupid questions because we all start at the same place. We all start at zero. Right? We all have stupid questions in the beginning, what we consider to be stupid because everybody else is so much more further advanced, than we are in their business. But we had the same questions in the beginning. Everybody's got, just Okay, I'm going off on a tangent again, but there are no stupid questions. So I appreciate you guys asking all of the questions that you do, because the questions that you ask may be a question that somebody else has, and all the questions are valid. So that's why I do these, is what I was getting at. It's just to answer your questions, to help you just to move forward and get it done. uh, Thank you for the super chat, Sean. I appreciate you. Joy says, "Hey, Angela, I'm saving up for coaching assistance, but in the meantime, what is the best way I can get myself ready to work with one? A coach? Do just like we were talking about earlier, do your research. Find these people anywhere that you can. I mean, what I mean by that is if you find somebody on YouTube, or if you find somebody who wrote a blog and you go, oh, wow, I bet you they would be a great person to coach with or to train with, look them up and see what else they do. See what kind of person they are. See if there are other people talking about this person. Learn what you can about this person. Then after your educated, informed decision, right? What it really comes down to, I think, for me, is if you're comfortable talking to this person, you're comfortable working with this person, you find this person is in a place that you want to be in. This person is where you want to be and has gotten there successfully, and that person could be easy to talk to and work with for you. And that other people have perhaps found success with this person. You have to like this person to be able to work with them, I think. So that is the best way, I think, to be ready for a coach. Not only that, but also to maybe whatever DAW you do choose to use, make sure that you're familiar enough with your DAW that if your coach is working with you to record certain pieces or to work on, whatever that you're working on, if you can use your DAW well enough, understand it enough to go through the motions with this person. That, like, for instance, if they're telling you maybe you need to adjust your EQ, that you know what they're talking about and you know where to go to fix that. That you have your space already completed before you start working with somebody. That's not necessary, but you're asking for suggestions. I work with a lot of people that just have ground zero, right? They have a space in mind, but it's not properly treated. And I help them to kind of get through treating the space. But I mean, those training sessions that you're paying for are going to be much better utilized if you have everything sort of already set up, right? Your space is chosen and it's treated. You have a microphone in place. You have your computer chosen. Everything is sort of ready to go. Then you'll get much more out of your training sessions, I think, if you have everything already ready. I think that's my best suggestion. Joy. Making Money Ideas, Passive Income says, any opinion on SoundForge Audio Studio 16? I just downloaded the software, giving it a try. I haven't heard of a whole lot of people using that one, nor have I heard much about it. So I don't think I have much of an opinion on that one. I'm very unfamiliar with that one. So no, I don't. But if you do want one that has that is free, like Audacity, there's and Robert, don't yell at me, but there is a great creator on TikTok. I think it's Audacity Training or Learning Audacity, something like that. But my point is that there's a lot of tutorials and people coaching on how to use Audacity. And Audacity is free. So I would go with a DAW that, again, makes sense to you, that's easy to understand, and that there's a lot of education out there for. Because you're going to run into some situations where, like, I don't know how to do this. I have no idea how to get this particular step done. And then you're going to want to go to YouTube and find somebody to tell you how to move forward. And some of the DAWs out there, I don't think have as many people teaching about them as maybe Adobe Audition, Reaper, and Audacity do. So I don't know. Me personally, I would want a DAW that I had a lot of training available to me on, so I could understand it and get stuff done. Musical Neptunians replying to Rowan Z. I can't use my real name. I share my name with a criminal, not a joke. Well, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So that is why you need to not use your name. James Park says Mike Delgadio said in one of his videos that if he had $1,000 to spend, he'd spend $100 on a mic and $900 on studio treatment. 110% agree. 110% agree. Louis says, shout out to Sean Lester. Let's just shout each other out. Let's just all just take turns in shouting each other out. How about that? Let's just do it. We all deserve a shout out, you know? Celebrate the little things. Rowan Z says, thank you for answering my questions. I'm so appreciative of your presence here. All such helpful information. Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad that you find it helpful. My goofy turkeyness is helpful. Voiceover audio Janet says, here's what may be a stupid question. No, Janet, no stupid questions, Janet. Rocky Horror Picture Show just came into my mind. Damn it, Janet. Does all the features of Audacity just show up in the drop-down bars, or does it actually have to have a recording to do before they work? Oh, that's a good question. My Audacity users, are all the functions available if you don't have a live a live audio file in there, or can you access all of that stuff without having an audio file in there? I know for Adobe Audition that some of the effects are grayed out until you actually have a file live that you're like working on for any of those effects to be available. And it might be a similar thing for Audacity because there's nothing to be done. There's no file like in the workspace to do anything with. So some of the effects might not work. That would make sense to me, but I don't know exactly if that is the case. I would try it either way and see if it responds to a track, there in the workspace or not. It's not a dumb question. Mm-mm. Mason Reconstruction says Chromebook is usually not able to store an audio program, but will work with the program in the cloud. Is Audacity cloud-based? I don't think so. I think it's a downloadable software. I know Adobe Audition, the app is cloud-based, but Audacity, I think, is just a downloadable software. Chromebook is just is it got like a small bit of RAM because it's intended for mobile light work kind of a thing? I'm thinking that's what Chromebook is, right? So it might not have enough RAM or storage space to store like an audio program, I think is what we're referring to, right? VoiceOver Audio Janet says, at Masonry, I didn't find one and went through all of the how-tos on YouTube. For, the Audacity. I would just try it either way. I would just put a file in there, just record like a test audio file, just recite a nursery rhyme or something, and then put it in there and then see if, any of the effects are working with a live file in the workspace. Mason Reconstruction says, Janet, you can use Reaper for a long, long time, and there's plenty of help available. Yeah, plenty of help available for Reaper, Adobe Audition, and I believe Studio One and Audacity. Sally says, do you yourself use direct email marketing? I don't, and I should. I should start. I've been talking about it forever, but I need to stop talking about it and just do it. But I'm busy enough right now that I think what I'm going to say is that I need to have a game plan in place for this. And I think I'm still deciding on what is the best way for me to do email direct marketing, because I don't want to just pay for lists. I want to know who I'm working with, and I want to be strategic about who I reach out to. So I think the best way to plan out that is going to take some time. And then to find the people I'm going to reach out to is going to take some time. So I think while I'm working on what I have to work on, I'm still sort of developing a strategy for that. But no, as of right now, I do not. I should, though. Rowan Z says at Musical Neptunian, oh, that's a bummer. Robert says, you're right, nebulizer, just like a personal humidifier. Okay. So I was right, nebulizer. Okay. Thank you, Robert. VoiceOver Audio Janet says Windows 10 and still trying to figure it out, so I'll have to let you know. Okay. Thank you, Janet. Holy Moses. Oh, we've been on for way over an hour. Okay, so I'm going to just get these last few questions in here. Rowan Z says, I don't have a studio yet. Anyone have experience with porta booths? I have heard of recently of some people buying those portable booths, or you can make your own. I know a lot of great voiceover artists who started out with what they called a hobo fort, where they just took PVC and moving blankets and just created a, you know, like a booth that they could take down, put up, take down just about anywhere, just to sort of reduce the reflection in their immediate vicinity to kind of control the quality of the audio around them. I mean, it could. I don't know how much of a solid, permanent solution that would be going forward, but I think for starting out, that might be okay. I don't know. Me personally, I don't know. I've always had just this room, but having a place that you can sort of call home and set up and keep, like a dedicated workspace would be ideal, I think. Musical Neptunian says at VoiceOver Audio Janet, I am surely the only person here using Ubuntu Studio as my OS. I've never even heard of that one. But hey, if it works for you, if it ain't broke, it don't need fixing, right? Robert Palmer says, Angela, Thomas, my studio is a closet. It's 34 inches wide and 60 inches deep, or the other way around. It is literally a coat closet. Don't need a lot. Nope, you don't. You don't need a lot at all. As long as it sounds good. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just has to sound good. VoiceOver Audio Janet says, no studio and nothing fancy to start with, but just working with what I can for now. As we all do. We all started. I started in the living room in a gigantic room with no treatment at all. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But you learn. You learn as you go. Louis says, ConvertKit. Oh, what happened? ConvertKit. Why is that over there? I can't read your. Okay. ConvertKit would be perfect for email marketing in Angela's case. I have heard of some people using ConvertKit and having some great results with that. So I think I'm actually going to try that at some point. Especially since she qualifies to get matched with a sponsor. Sneezes. Funny how my sneeze sounded like the name Angela. Rowan Z says, oh, I'm realizing when I retract questions, you're still getting them on your end. Didn't mean to ask the same question twice. No, I think it's, I'm using StreamYard as my streaming software. So I don't think, not YouTube directly. So I think it might not translate over to StreamYard, but it's okay. It's okay. No worries. Robert says, why was inserted there? Why not? Because you're Robert and you do that, right? Goalie's Adventures After 50 says, thanks for answering my questions, Angela. Bye, everyone. Off to work. Off to work I go. Have a great week. You have a fabulous day, Goldie. Janet says, bye, Goldie. John Campia is a shill. Hello from India. English not good. I am attempting an internet marketing career in slums, but my brother Billow became okay. I think that's from a movie. Sean Lester 007 says, not full-time in the car, only when necessary. Got it. YouTube's algorithm is bound to push your premieres further into cyberspace over time. Yes, I hope so. James Park says, at VoiceOver Audio Janet, I have a small storeroom with blankets and audio treatments on the walls in my condo. You don't need much room to do this job. You don't really. Just enough to sort of move around. But if you have a very small space, you definitely want to open the door from time to time, because you're breathing in your exhalations for long periods of time and you need fresh oxygen once in a while. Otherwise, you might asphyxiate yourself. VoiceOver Audio Janet says, at James, thanks. I have a walk-in closet that I could use, but I'm going to try my bedroom first. Great idea. John says, hey, Angela, good morning. Sorry, I just got here. Doctor's appointment, bad sinus. Oh, no. No, not a sinus infection. That stinks. Janet says, John, hi, and so sorry. Yeah, so sorry about that, John. Those are rough. I hate sinus infections. Sean Ho says, what percentage out of 100% should social media be placed? I, like others, don't feel comfortable with putting myself out into that world. I'm sure it's due to my age, and I've never dealt with it. I was never one that was a fan of social media. I was never one that needed to share what I ate for lunch or every update about everything that has ever happened to me. I've never been that person, but unfortunately, social media is where a lot of eyeballs are, and that is a great and free way to market yourself and your business. It costs you nothing but time in most cases. A little creativity can go a long way in finding clients or having clients find you. So social media is definitely something I would recommend doing. I'm not a big social media person, but I kind of had to evolve and become one because of my business. Because again, no one's just going to know that you're there if you put up your website or put up a profile on a pay to play site. They're not just going to come rushing into you. They don't know that you're there. You're just one amongst hundreds of thousands. So you have to stand out. You have to introduce yourself, and you can do that through social media for free. Just costs you a little bit of time and creativity. So it is tough, but I would say um, social media for me is fairly important. And when I say social media, that is YouTube included. That's TikTok, that's Instagram, that's all of them, Facebook. So social media, I think, is fairly important. For marketing purposes, I'd say it's a good 60%, maybe more. It's important. I'm sorry. But you can figure out ways to market yourself or to create content without showing your face if that's what you're concerned about. But even that I wouldn't be concerned about. It is what it is. You are who you are. So what? Who cares what everybody else thinks? Robert Palmore says, there is so many tutorials on a Reaper, it isn't funny. I've learned so much from the YouTube Reaper tutorials. Yeah, just about anything that you want a tutorial on, you can find on YouTube. It's a goldmine of information. Yvette D. VoiceOver says, I haven't managed to attend your question sessions for quite some time. It's good to be here. Thanks for this community and your valuable content. Well, thank you for joining today, Yvette. I appreciate you. Okay, I'm going to just skim through these last ones quickly because I do have work to do. I got to get back to work. VoiceOver Audio Janet says, at Sean, I'm 59 and plan on uploading audiobooks to YouTube as part of my social media presence. That's a great idea. Great idea, Janet. Musical Neptunian says, I shout out everyone. Good. I shout out everybody. Good. Love it. Louie says, feel better soon, John. Yes, John, take care of yourself. Hydrate, vitamins. Take care. Robert says, Chromebook is basically enough computer to run the browser Chrome and all the computing goes into the internet servers. Yeah, so it's like a light version, laptop, sort of like a mobile work solution. Very, I don't want to say basic, but does the basic things, I guess. Danelle Nelson says, RHPS came to my mind immediately with VoiceOver Audio Janet, and Every Day is Halloween is a goth anthem. Yes, it is, Ministry. Hello from rainy Philly. It is. Love that song. I was just listening to it actually the other day on my YouTube mix. Joey West says, shout out to everyone. I'm 57 and plan to upload audiobooks and voice acting samples to YouTube for my media presence. That is a great idea. Great idea. Janet says, okay, Angela's probably the same then. Chromebooks can come in different types, just like regular Windows laptops. Okay. I had just the basic program, so space was most likely the reason for not working. It could be. Most of the DAWs require a good amount of RAM to work, and then a little bit of storage space to download onto your... And that is one of the reasons why I say that having a good amount of RAM, at least 16 gigs, is going to be good to start with, because as you progress in your career, you're going to be doing more and more multitasking, just for, time saving. For example, you might be rendering a video while you're recording an audiobook and then uploading a delivery to one of the pay-to-play sites. You might be multitasking quite a bit. So having a computer that's got some some muscle is definitely going to be advantageous for your career. Voiceover Van Deen says, musical Neptunian and fellow penguin. Ubuntu studio user. So you're not the only one. Running Native Reaper works well for everything for me except for isotope. Oh, that's a bummer. I don't know what I'd do without my isotope. With my mouth declick. I don't know where I'd be without that. Oh my gosh. Joy West says, thanks for answering my question, Angela. Have a great day. Got to meet my husband for lunch. Oh, that sounds great. Have a great lunch. And you're very welcome. Musical Neptunian says, VoiceOver Van Deen. Oh, yeah. I use Reaper as well. Robert says, love you again. Please, everyone, give the video a thumbs up. Help her metrics. Yes, it does. Thank you, guys. You guys rock. Robert says, I have to less the grass after you. You have to less the grass. So you're just kind of hanging out because you don't want to less the grass. I don't blame you. Robert Malcolm says, hello. Can you please tell me the website to read free books? Just starting out and learning things. That is LibriVox.org. That is a website you can go to volunteer to narrate books for free. It's great practice. I've done it. I recommend it. I would totally do it. Those are all books that are in the public domain. So they're books that are out of copyright by volunteer narrators. Great way to learn the ropes, in my opinion. Project Gutenberg, yep, is another place for books out of copyright. But if you want to just read them, Project Gutenberg would be great. That's a great website where all of the copyright-free books are. But if you want to narrate them and volunteer to narrate them, that would be LibriVox.org. JCC AOL says, I have a porta booth. I like it. If you're able to stand while recording, it should not pick up any breathing. Or you could build one yourself. Essentially the same sort of, if you look up a porta booth and if you can find like the schematics for it, like the dimensions, like how big it is, and then make it even a little bit bigger so you can sit and then fit in your desk and all of your equipment, you could do that too. Robert says, thank you very much to Musical Neptunian. Musical Neptunian says, Robert, LibriVox is great too. Yes, it is. Rowan says, replying to JCC AOL, thanks for sharing. Does it pick up breathing if you're sitting? I think your microphone is really going to pick up any breathing if you're breathing right in front of it. But even if you are, you can still remove the breaths in post in the editing process. But I think what you're essentially looking for in a portable booth or any sort of booth, any kind of a recording space, is that you don't want to have hard, solid surfaces. Because when you speak, it's a vibration, and that vibration is going to bounce off of all of those reflective surfaces and create echo. You don't want that. So you make sure that your ceiling, all the walls around you, your desktop, your computer monitor, your floor, that everything around you that's hard and shiny and reflective, you want to get it covered, away. Anything that makes echo or noise, like your computer even, just be very cognizant of what is in your space and treat it accordingly. No matter what mic you have, your space is much more important than the type of microphone that you have. So even building your own space is still better than not having anything, just sitting in your living room like I did in the very beginning and try to record an audiobook. You just can't. It won't sound good at all. All right, you guys, I think that is it for today, but I really appreciate everybody being here as always. And everybody have a great and fabulous week. And I will see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Next Tuesday, 12 p.m. EST. Bye, everybody.